It's a compilation of documents on the Alabama eradication program. So we're going to present this to Nancy Pelosi's staff, and hopefully, hopefully they'll read through it. It's an in-depth look at the LBAM issue, and it includes I have an introduction, participation organizations, basic information. I have a lot of support letters for the reclassification petition, some letters from the Spear Roundtable, Dr. Carey's work on invasion biology and eradication, Dan Harder and Jeff Rosendale's report on their findings in New Zealand. This is the expanded LBAM program area as of July 2008, and as you can see, it includes almost the whole state.
All these other things I have to see in the document. Well, so I've got to kind of get into it. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have to go. No, it's okay.
And she asked good questions. That would be the best. That would be the best piece of it. And I think she was sincere in her interest. I think we gave her a lot of information she didn't have.
I think her point was everything hinges on the petition. The outcome of that, and the fact that we sort of got a commitment from her that she would follow up to make sure that, however USDA decides to review this in NAS, that it will be fair, that we will have been heard. All of our information that we submitted will have a chance at a fair hearing or review.
Follow up with a communication that says this is the issue with regards to a scientific review. This is the bibliography that we were given from Sam Farr's office. The petition's not on it. The Harder-Rosendale report is not on it. Paper by Gutierrez on population dynamics of LBAM is not on it. But these are all the things that are missing. These communications from experts in New Zealand, Australia, Hawaii saying LBAM's not a problem have not been given to the NIS to review. So this is what we have to bring up to them so they can ask about that. Myself and researchers from University of California, Santa Cruz, Dan Harder, and Ken Kimes, who's a director on the Agriculture Commission in Santa Cruz County. Together we put together a review of the scientific literature on light brown apple moth, and looking at it from the perspective of does it need to be eradicated, can it be eradicated, and how easily or cost effectively can it be managed within agricultural systems, and do we need to be spraying people with pesticides in order to eliminate this pest. We literally looked at 130 years worth of scientific published agricultural literature on this specific issue from Australia, New Zealand, Canada, all over Eastern Europe, United Kingdom, Hawaii, where all these countries where LBAM is naturalized. And the totality of the data is very clear that one is that LBAM is an insect of minor economic significance. It only becomes a problem when we mismanage agricultural systems, such as overuse of pesticides. The more that we use pesticides, the more that insects become bad pests. If left to their own regards, in the case of LBAM, most of the control of LBAM is actually done naturally through natural predators. Flies, mosquitoes, spiders, birds, ants, all eat LBAM, up to the point of almost 99% predation in all the life stages of LBAM. Point being is that we submitted this reclassification petition, or we submitted a petition to USDA calling for the reclassification of light brown apple moth from a Category A pest requiring eradication to a Category C pest, insect that can be dealt with within agricultural crop systems as a crop quality issue, not as a moth of mass destruction issue. And the data firmly establishes that it is easily managed in crop systems. This petition was submitted to USDA. USDA then said they convened a commission of experts to review different aspects of the reclassification petition. Then they said that we were told by our local congressional office that our petition for reclassification was submitted to the National Academy of Science for their scientific review. However, we then communicated with USDA and asked them, did you actually send the petition to the National Academy of Science? The answer was no. What they did was they sent a report, their report, of our reclassification petition to the National Academy of Science. We asked for a bibliography of the papers that were presented to the National Academy of Science. And in looking at that bibliography, we found that no, the petition wasn't submitted. One of the most seminal reports on LBAM management by Harder and Jeff Rosendale, Dan Harder and Jeff Rosendale, was also not submitted. Communications from the ag directors in Hawaii, from experts in Australia and New Zealand, entomology experts throughout the state of California were also not submitted as part of the National Academy of Science review. So therefore, we don't believe that this reclassification petition is going to be looked at from a truly scientific perspective. What USDA did was they cherry-picked the information that they provided to National Academy of Science rather than presenting all the information. So the National Academy of Science review is only going to be a partial look at the LBAM data, and virtually none of the information that represents the manner in which LBAM is managed today as a crop quality issue in Australia and New Zealand will even be considered. And most of the communications that note that LBAM is only a minor background biological insect that it just is a part of the food chain will not be presented to the National Academy of Science. So unfortunately, we don't believe there's going to be a truly unbiased scientific review of this reclassification petition.
So you were at Congresswoman Pelosi's office today. What is your message? What were you trying to talk to her assistants about?
Basically, our major message and focus is on the eradication program of the Light Brown Apple Moth that's facilitated by the California Department of Food and Agriculture. It's a federally mandated program that included the aerial pesticide spraying of Santa Cruz and Monterey a year and a half ago. Resulted in literally several hundred seabirds dying, pets dying. One 11-month-old boy almost died of anaphylactic reaction from breathing in the pesticides. And they were going to do this all in California. They were going to do it in San Francisco. They were going to do it in Sonoma. The moth lives from Sonoma down to Los Angeles. So you're talking 10 to 20,000 square miles that they were going to try to eradicate this moth. And everything we learned about the moth, we actually had to look at the scientific data and talk to experts in Australia and New Zealand where it's native, and they say this is not a bad insect, this is just a background food chain insect. It doesn't do much damage to crops at all unless we cause that damage.
So what do you want Congresswoman Pelosi to do?
Two is one is to question the funding and the manner in which it's funded, because we don't think an economy like we have there should be funding for frivolous programs like this. This is nothing more than a funding program for CDFA to maintain the bureaucracy. A lot of their general funds go to eradication programs, to what they call emergency programs. This is where they get a bulk of their money. But two California courts actually ruled there was no emergency in this case. So this is just money up to $500 million that actually was written into the last Bush budget, specifically to deal with invasive species, including the light brown apple moth, and it's just not needed.
So you would like to see that money obviously go somewhere else?
I'd rather see that go to food programs, to educational programs, not to fighting a moth that they say is a moth of mass destruction, which really is a myth of mass destruction. I mean, that's how they're portrayed it, that it's going to devastate California, and everybody in Australia, Hawaii, New Zealand, where this thing is naturalized, tell us, no, that's not true at all. That we don't have it. It's been in Hawaii for more than 100 years, and it's done nothing to everything.
Are you trying to save the light brown apple moth, or to keep pesticides away?
We believe we have to move to a more sustainable form of living across our country in agriculture, and the way we manage pests, the way we manage our food supply. That's the biggest issue, but it's more as not exposing old people, children, ourselves to pesticides, especially needlessly.